What's up, guys? Thanks for taking the time to spend a little time with me, man. I always appreciate that, guys. And normally I don't do this type of video, but I feel like I had to. I have to, guys. You need to beware of Spirit Airlines. And let me explain to you why. Now, first and foremost, let me say this, guys. As far as the flight was fine. Just the actual flight, the act of actually flying, being on the plane, in the air and down to the landing and also, the takeoff, all of that was fine. It was great. But now let me explain to you why you need to beware of Spirit Airlines. Okay, first and foremost, it all starts with checking in. Okay, now if you're like me, I like to check in right at the 24-hour mark, so let's just say hypothetically, you have a flight that's leaving on Wednesday at 12 p.m. What you want to do is check in on Tuesday, the day before, at 12 p.m. The reason why you want to do that in most cases to advance your boarding position. That's the reason why you do it, right? Well, let me tell you what my experience was. So I'm all ready to check in, and I go to check in, guys, and I keep getting this error message. And not really an error message, but it just keeps saying confirmation code, and then it keeps, reverting down for me to sign into some type of account. So I was like, okay, I don't know, maybe I'm a little bit early. I tried again, and again, and again, right? Same message. So eventually, 15-20 minutes or so has gone by, and I realized, okay, I'm gonna have to call them. So I called them. First of all, it takes forever for you to get someone on the line. That's another thing. I get them on the line, and I'm telling the lady what's happening. I said, listen, I'm just trying to check in, and every time I do it, it takes me to the next page. It shows my confirmation number, and then it's telling me, it's giving me this option to create this account. Right? It's not telling me that I have to. It just says create. I don't even remember what it's called, but it's some type of, fly account with them or what have you. Free account. But anyway, the point is, the lady then tells me, oh, in order for you to manage your reservation or what have you, check in, etc., you need to have one of these accounts. So I was like, well, wait a minute. I understand that you guys want people to sign up, but this is the first time, and let me say this again, the first time on any airline that I have been required to create an account in order to check in. Check in. I've never had to do that with any other airline, and I have flown a million times, guys, on multiple airlines. This was the first time. So that's the first thing. And my biggest problem with that is, again, if I'm attempting to check in at the 24-hour mark, I wish I would know this in advance so I could have been created this account, right? So at this time, I'm 30 minutes late. Luckily enough, when I check in, it wasn't too bad. I was still in zone 3, and which obviously, guys, 1, 2, 3. It wasn't too bad. It is assigned seating or what have you, so at least the seat was okay. But, most of the time you want to check in early, especially if you have a bag, a carry-on bag that you want to put in the overhead. Oh, now that brings me to the next point, the bags. Guess what, folks? They charge for not only checked bags, they charge for carry-on bags. Again, the first time I have ever had to do this. Again, let me explain to you what I just said. They charge for carry-on bags. So in most airlines, you get a personal item, which is usually, for females, a purse, or for a guy, a backpack. And then you get a bag, certain size, but you get a normal suitcase. And a lot of times people are able to pack their whole trip in that suitcase so they don't have to check a bag, right? Because some airlines do, they obviously do, charge you. You have to pay for a checked bag. And that's not unusual, except for Southwest. And shout outs to Southwest. Southwest doesn't charge that. But no, they go a step further. They charge you for the carry-on. Now, not only do they charge you for the carry-on, let me tell you what else they do. You're charged a different amount depending on how close you are to your check-in. So the closer you get to actual boarding and takeoff, the price goes up. It's ridiculous. Like, I believe it starts at like $40. And then if it's under 24 hours, then it goes to the next level. And if it's, closer to this hour, then it's more. And then if you check it in at the gate, it's even more. Ridiculous. And speaking of checks, so if you check an actual bag, the normal check the bag and they put it under the plane, not on the plane with you, same deal. It's a certain price online, and then the closer you get to boarding time, it gets even higher. Now, let me tell you this. It's as much as $100 at the gate. So let's just say you didn't know any of this and you get to the gate and you realize that you have to check your bag. They charge you $100. Yes, $100. Now, the reason why I wanted you to know that, because I have a story to tell you in regards to that. All right, so basically, let's get back to me, going in and, checking the bag or what have you. So most of the time when I do this, guys, I decide if I'm going to check a bag later. I just want to check in. So later on in my day, before I wake up the next morning or what have you, I decide from that point, okay, am I going to check the bag? Which suitcase am I going to take? Am I going to take the bigger one where I have to check it? Am I going to take the one that I don't have to check it, et cetera, et cetera? So I didn't choose that when I was finally able to get in and check in. Now, because I didn't choose that, I found out about the pricing. Now I found out that the pricing changes. So I said, it would behoove me to go ahead and do it before getting to the airport, right? So I try to go back in 5 minutes after I've checked in, right? Guess what? I can't make any changes. I can't manage anything, which, remember, they kept saying in order for you to manage a reservation, you have to have this account. Done all of that. I've checked in. Now I'm trying to go back and add a bag because now I want to check the bag now so it's not going to charge me as much later. But guess what? I can't do it. So I have to call them again, and I find out, in order for you, to do that, that how it has to be done during the check-in process. Once you check in, you're unable to add a bag after that. So I'm like, okay, are you serious? So you're telling me I'm going to have to go to the airport and pay the higher price because I didn't know your rules? Which some could say that's on me, but these are ridiculous rules anyway. And nothing really tells you that to pop out and let you know that, right? So anyway, the lady was like, no, I can uncheck you. And I was like, uncheck me? So does that mean that it now is going to take my previous check-in away and it might, force me further down in the check-in process? She was like, no, that part will remain. You just will be able to, basically add your bag. So I do all of that. So I had to pay, I think it was $40. So I decided I'm going to check it because it's actually cheaper than checking the carry-on. So now the decision has to be made for me. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to check this bag. And we're going to do it that way. All right. So now I'm already $40 to the negative. And it's $40, whatever. But at the end of the day, I wasn't expecting to pay that. I'm already $40 to the negative. Right. So now let's talk about getting to the airport. You get to the airport, and guys, the line to check your bag wasn't even that long. But they are the slowest people I have ever seen. Ever seen. Guys, they had a different line for if you have a printed boarding pass, you can be in this line. If you need a boarding pass and need to check a bag, be in this line. If you need to check a bag only, be in this line. If you need full service, be in this line. Now, because it's so crazy and all spread out, no one knows what to do. Literally everyone in the line with me was like, okay, which one do I need? I don't know what I need. What do I need? What do I need? What do I got? I don't know. Nobody knew because it's so crazy. Guess what else? There was no kiosk. So there wasn't a kiosk, outside of the line where you can go ahead and print the boarding pass, right? No kiosk there. Finally, we realized there's a kiosk all the way in the front. And then they finally started telling people you could do that. But guess what? If you do that, guess what's going to happen? Now you're out of line. So there's no benefit of doing that. And the reason why a lot of us had to do that, because what else they didn't have? They didn't have the ability for you to send your boarding pass to your text or email, like a lot of other not websites, but a lot of other airline websites allow you to do. There was no mobile option. So you had to print it at home or whatever computer you're on, or you have to get it when you get to the airport. Just ridiculous. Okay, so fast forward. Let's get back to the gate. And guys, I know this video is running a little long. I'm sorry about that, but I had to tell this story. I'm going to try to wrap it up here. Get to the gate, and guess what? There's some guys experiencing the situation where they had no idea about the checking of the bag and blah, blah, blah. and they told these guys that they had to check their bag. It was going to cost them $100. These guys went ballistic. But let me tell you the other story. The guy missed his flight. He had to pay $150. Crazy. It is what it is. I know sometimes airlines charge that, but I thought I would just throw that in the story. I saw it all. So I get on the plane, and as we're boarding, 3 times, again, 1, 2, 3 times, there was an overbooking of a seat. Let me explain what I'm telling you. And I remember the seat vividly because I kept hearing it. 21B. They actually assigned 21B to 3 different people. First guy comes, he sits down, he's chilling. The next guy comes, he's like, hey, that's my seat. And he's like, no, I have the same ticket. Okay, they call this stewardess, they get that situated. There's another seat open. Next time a lady comes, same situation, same seat, people. They gave 3 people the same seat. And one of the situations ended up where there was a guy who had an aisle seat, and then his wife and his little kid had another aisle seat, and then the kid, could sit in the middle seat or what have you. So they were kind of together, but there was 2 of them, aisle, then the guy, and they overbooked that seat. So it was this whole mess about they couldn't sit there. He wanted to stay with the family, and then the guy that originally had been booked the seat, the second person, he didn't want to move. It was a mess, guys. A complete mess. And here's the last part, guys. So we're finally in the air and flying. Guess what else they charge for? Y'all ready for this? Water. Water, all soft drinks, and coffee and tea. Now you tell me, what airline have you been on where you paid for water, coffee, or tea? These things are free on every single airline I have ever flown on. Now, some people will say, listen, you get what you pay for. Now, the funny thing is, I will agree with that. The reason why people probably book Spirit is because it's a very cheap flight, very cheap. So in the grand scheme of things, you do get what you pay for. But this is why I'm making this video, because I want those of you who've never flown it to understand what you may deal with, as well as those of you who are about to fly on Spirit. These are some of the expectations. They charge for everything. Again, water, coffee, tea, soda. Ridiculous. And don't even think about having no outlet, no power outlet to charge your phone or anything like that. No, they definitely don't have that. But I'm sorry, guys. Had to make this video. Guys, I like to keep you informed for you subscribers and anyone else who's not subscribed to my channel, or, it's the first video you've seen from me. This is what I do from time to time. I like to speak on real world situations, but I wanted to let you guys know this so you can be aware, beware of Spirit Airlines. So that's all I got for you guys, man. Hey, if you're new to the channel and you enjoyed what you saw, go ahead and click the screaming face up above here when it appears to subscribe for more content. And like always, guys, I promise you, it will never hurt you to hit that like button. All right, guys, until next time, let me know what you think. Peace.